So I review a lot of nice, expensive knives on my channel, and today I wanted to talk about some cheap knives. Okay, so these are Ganzo or Ganzo, depending on how you pronounce it, knives. Except for this one, this is my Spyderco. And I wanted to talk about these because they are just such a good deal. They all have 440C blades. 440C gets a bad rap because custom knife makers can't use it. It requires a very complex heat treating process that you can't do, in a small shop. But there's a very good website out there about the truth about 440C, and when the heat treating on this stuff is done right, it is one of the absolute best blade steels out there. And they have done it right. I bought one of these on a whim once, just because it was cheap and it had the axis lock. And after I'd had it for several months and used it a lot, and I noticed how well the edge was holding up, I started doing some research on the blade steel and discovered that, yeah, it's not my imagination. It really is an excellent blade steel. I like it better than just about anything except S35VN or the LC200N on this Spyderco, just because this doesn't rust. But the edge holding between this, expensive Spyderco and this $18 Ganzo is pretty near identical. I like to buy these as project knives. You can tell this one's been modified extensively. I shortened it so it fits in my hand a little better. I put the great big thumb stud on there. I've rounded out around the axis lock to make it a little easier. You don't have to be afraid to mess with one of these because it was, less than 20 bucks. I particularly wanted to talk about this one. This is the Ganzo G729, which this is a knockoff of Spyderco Paramilitary. I don't know if it's the PM2 or it's the regular, but I actually like this better than the real Spyderco Paramilitary because this one has the axis lock. Again, I made the scales a little bit recessed there, but the blade, it's a great edge holding blade. It has the full flat grind just like the Spyderco. I don't like the delicate tip on the full flat grinds, but they seem to hold up okay. Ganzo uses one bronze and one Teflon washer to keep the action nice and smooth. And I'm not a huge fan of the compression lock. It's not the strongest lock type. It's not nearly as strong of a lock type as an axis lock. So this is basically your Spyderco Paramilitary with an axis lock, and it functions just as well, and it feels almost exactly the same in the hand. It's just an excellent little knife, and this one costs less than 20 bucks. It's really hard to beat these knives. These would be great first folding knives for a kid because they're quality. They do small narrow folders like this. They do great big ones like this. That's like a really thick blade on that one, which I really like because this is my go-to kind of adventure hiking knife when I know I'm going to be using it for something that could be damaging. Really like these knives. They do knockoffs of Benchmade, why can't I think of it? Griptilians. They do, the Osborne Benchmades. Now, not all of those are going to have the same feel in the hand because they do use full steel liners on all theirs, so they can't do the contouring like the Benchmades do. But Spyderco makes theirs flat-sided anyway, and so they feel the same. Really good little knives. If you need a hard use knife or one that you don't want to worry about messing up, these are really great choices.